I've it's been about a year since I met you, and I think I saw you on an interview, something like this. And your presence and your way of reaching out to people, to me, is what lines up with who I am, which is authentic. So that's why I'm really excited about sharing you with my community today. And can I just say a little bit about you before we get started?
That would be great. Thank you. And yeah, Jean Catherine, you're going to get the recording later. So that's why we've recorded it. So yeah, you're all good.
Right. Well, I just wanted to first say that I've had direct experience. I've taken classes, follow up with Debbie, and I think that that's why I want to introduce you to her today. But boy, does she have a history. She's also been on my podcast, but Debbie is a heart-centered sales and follow-up expert, speaker, and founder of Power Up Your Follow-Up. She works with relationship-driven entrepreneurs, coaches, and network marketers who are letting potential clients and income slip through the cracks because they don't have a reliable follow-up system in place. And her proven step-by-step formula supports them to have more ideal clients saying yes to working with them. I love that, saying yes, right? Isn't that the feel that you want when you're working with people? Yes. Well, and this is something that Debbie talked about on my Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast, some of her background. And it's over 20 years of working on Wall Street, believe it or not, as a managing director with over 25 billion in sales. Debbie took her organizational skills and her ability, of course, to connect with people and created multiple six-figure businesses. In addition, Debbie had tremendous success as a network marketer, having built an international team of several thousand consultants. She's also a best-selling author and has a book highlighting her proven follow-up system. Oh, Debbie, due out soon, right? Her mission is to support entrepreneurs to share their gifts and get their message out in a big way. And that's so that they can create, so that you, hey guys, so that you can create the impact that you want. So, Debbie, I would like to welcome you today, but is there anything else we need to do since you're pretty familiar with this format?
No, we're good. We're good. Let's just dive in. One thing I do want to mention is before we get started is we want this to be super interactive. And so please, if you have a question, put it in the chat and then we'll open up the line and have you ask it. So we want this to be very, very interactional.
Wonderful. And then Summer will be joining us again. And as soon as she gets into the office, I guess, two people in the waiting room, I think I need to let them in, right?
Yep.
So Debbie, let's begin by, because that's partly what happens for us in business is we get inspired. So you were inspired, right, to start your business? And so can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so this was years ago, and I was in this dark, stuffy, air-conditioned vendor hall. Like I was at one of these networking events, and I found myself there because I desperately needed to make money. My husband, if everybody can mute out, or you might need to mute out everybody, Carly. My husband was a high-end custom home builder, and when the real estate market crashed, we lost everything. We had invested everything we had into our home and into several properties, and we lost everything. It was devastating. So I was there because I needed to get clients. Have any of you, if you want to put in the chat, ever been in that place where you were desperate to make a sale, like to get a client just to make ends meet? Well, that's where I was. And so I went into this event and I saw these women who I thought would be interested in what I have to offer. And I walked over to them and I knew them. And when they saw me coming, Doreen, they actually turned and walked the other way. And I was devastated, like, what is going on here? And it just kept happening and kept happening. And I remember the moment I went home and said to my husband, my Wall Street, methods aren't working here in this entrepreneurial world. Like something's got to shift. And in that moment, I had this like aha. And I realized that I was so attached to the results. I was so attached to my agenda to get clients and make sales that people were feeling that desperate energy. And I realized I just needed to let go of all that and just show up in service and see how I could help people. And so I started showing up in that way, not even really getting to talking about me at all, just finding out about people, finding out how I could serve them, how I could support them, and everything shifted. So I went from 0 to 6 figures with a brand new coaching practice that I still have, what I'm doing now, 10 years later, in 14 months, just, using this new approach to just come more from the feminine, not be aggressive and assertive and relentless, because on Wall Street, that worked really well. And what happened during that time, I just want to back up for a sec. My son was going to be graduating from college, and we had promised to take him to Italy for his graduation present. But because of the financial issues that we were going through, we had to cancel the trip. And as a mom, I was just so sad about that, to be, let him down. Well, again, 14 months later, I created a 6-figure business. And then 2 years later, we were on that trip, and it was the most special. I mean, it was the most special trip ever because of what I had accomplished. I looked back, and just 2 years earlier, we couldn't even make ends meet. And here we were on this amazing trip, and I felt humble and so grateful for what I had accomplished. And I realized that so many people were struggling with sales and follow-up. And I knew that I needed to teach people this, because it's like the missing piece for so many people. And somebody's, can everybody mute out? I think, Carly, if you can mute out the woman whoever's called in on 415, just because there's some background noise. And Connie too, if you could mute out, that would be great. So what happened was I came this close to having to get a job because I couldn't survive anymore. And fortunately, the universe said no, and that job didn't come to fruition. It was really horrible at the time. But now looking back, I see that it was perfect, because this is my destiny. This is what I was supposed to be doing. So I never want anyone to have to choose between money and their happiness, right? Because I know that would have robbed me of my happiness. So that's why I'm so passionate, because you're all here because you have a gift to share. I know you want to make a difference in the world. And when you have sales and follow-up skills and processes in place, you'll be able to share your gifts and get them out in a bigger way and make the impact that you're really here to make. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, since I've been one of your clients and joined you in groups, I could definitely attest to the fact that you mentioned you had systems, and there are templates, and they're just, like how it's not so much like paint by numbers, but they're really, you have done so much research and have put this new system in place that I think you make it easy for us who follow you, Debbie. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you for sharing that.
But I think it'd be good to talk about follow-up, and what is it? What are the challenges that like how do we do it? I mean, what are we up against when we're trying to take on making relationship and following up with clients? What are these challenges most of us have faced?
So there are a lot of challenges that people have with sales and follow, because most people weren't taught these skills, but I've narrowed it down to like 4 key challenges. And the first one, and people tell me this all the time, they just wing it. Like they're not prepared before networking, or prepared before a meeting, or prepared before anything that they do. They just kind of go with the flow, whatever happens, happens. The second challenge is that people are disorganized. They don't have systems in place. And so clients and money are slipping through the cracks. The third area is the inner game piece. People have limiting beliefs and fears and stories that they make up that stop them from following up and from inviting people to work with them. And then the fourth one, which really kills me when I hear this, is that most entrepreneurs are not consistently asking their clients for referrals, and they're missing out on a tremendous amount of business. So those are like the 4 key challenges that I hear.
I would say the one that popped out to me was the mindset, like, oh, I don't want to be knocking on doors and having them shut in my face because that's what I anticipate. But also, we could go into each one, but that one to me was the hardest to actually have you help me change my mindset around hello and be more. I mean, that's who I am anyway, is that kind of welcoming. But could you say more about the mindset?
Yeah, so and I'm curious if you can put in the chat if you have this thing that comes up around follow-up and sales that you don't want to be salesy or pushy. Like if that's an issue for you, I would love to know. So if it just put in the chat, just say yes to limiting beliefs. Thank you, Jean Catherine. Anybody else, please share, because that's really helpful for me to know what you guys are struggling with, because we won't spend a lot of time on this area if it's not a big issue for you. So there's something about sales that are, people are just like allergic to it. Like they're just like, oh, I don't want to sell. I don't want to be this salesy, pushy thing. And so, oh, shark energy, Jenny. Thank you for sharing. Oh my God, that's probably what these women felt when I came out of Wall Street and I was at that networking event. So the thing about sales and follow-up is I want to help you have a mindset shift around it today, because people, when I follow up with people, especially when I call them, they thank me for following up with them. My last launch that I did in April for Power Up Your Sales, I called everyone who had completed this assessment. We'll talk about the assessment in a minute because I want to make sure all of you take it because it's a real eye opener. So I called all these people and they said to me, thank you so much for calling me. Nobody ever calls me. Like you made my day, some of them said. So when you follow up without the attachment to results, you let go of your agenda and you show up in service to see how you can support people, their guard will come down, their heart will open, and they will be listening to you in a different way because they realize at that moment you're not trying to sell them. And if they do have a need for what you offer, they will organically lean in and say, hey, I want to hear about what you offer for me, right? So just think of when you've been at an event or somebody calls you and they're trying to sell, you shut down, right? Like, can you guys relate to any of this? Please put there. Jean is shaking her head. I'd love all of you to come on video if you can. I know, Jenny, you can't, but the rest of you can come on video because this is really interactive and I'm an extrovert and I really feed off of people. So if you can, thank you, Vito. It's so good to see people. So please come on if you can. Even if you're in your PJs, we don't care. Just come on. Okay, so if you let go of your attachment to the results, you show up in service and you're just sharing and finding out about what they need and what they're struggling with, the dynamic will totally shift. So there is a way that you can follow up where you're building connection and providing value versus being salesy and pushing. This is what I teach my clients in the Power Up Your Sales program that Doreen took last year. We go in, I share all these scripts and templates and ways to follow up with people so that you don't feel like you're being that salesy, pushy, aggressive person. But it all starts with what your intention is. So set an intention before you reach out to people of what you want to have happen. That's important, but let go of the attachment to the results. So sales is an act of service. It really is. Because if somebody's struggling with something that you can support them with, and you don't follow up with them and you don't invite them to work with you, I really feel you're doing people a disservice because they could continue to struggle with that issue that you can solve. So all you need to do is continually ask for permission every step of the way so that people will never feel you're being salesy and pushy. Years ago, when I was sharing that story about being at that networking event, people would tell me all the time that I was being too pushy. And I kept trying, like, what the heck am I doing? I don't want to be pushy and salesy. So I figured it out. No one ever tells me I'm being pushy and salesy now. No, I haven't heard that in years because I'm asking for permission. I'm not sharing anything unless they want to hear it. And I'm asking, would you like to know more? Would you like to hear how I can support you? That way, if you ask for permission and somebody says yes, They will never feel you're being salesy or pushy. So this is a key issue that really stops people. And we make up all these stories. Oh, they're not interested, or oh, they can't afford it, or oh, I don't want to be a bother, all these stories we make up. And we just need to stop we need to put a more life affirming, supportive, positive story in place, because we make up the stories. So we can change the story and put in that I actually created this mantra when I was brand new in my business. It was kind of simple, but it was just something like I'm an amazing coach. I provide tremendous value to my clients every day. People are signing up to work with me one-on-one and in my group programs. Like, my clients are amazing and I'm amazing. Like, it was something like simple like that. And I just said it every day out loud, instead of going, oh, they can't afford it, or, oh, am I going to provide value to people? Or, oh, are people going to pay me for this? I shifted it to just putting out into the universe what I wanted to have happen, and everything started to shift for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a way to do it up here, like just try and say it, but I feel like because you're so heart-centered, it feels like it's got a deeper kind of resonance when you say that, Debbie. It's you talk about systems and you talk about being prepared, and so I feel like you're showing us how to prepare ourselves so that we are coming at it from our heart centered, right? But
Exactly.
you talk about, can you say just a little bit more about these systems?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people I've mentioned tell me that they have pieces of paper all over their desk, or notepads, or with people's names and information on it. If you can relate to that, please put that in the chat. Yeah, Vito's facing. So as you grow your business, it'll be very challenging to keep track of people if you're doing it that way. There was this one woman that said her system was, when she'd be driving, somebody would pop into her head to call, and then when she would stop driving, she would call them. It's like, okay, that system's not going to support you as you grow your business. So we need to have technology in place. And there's an incredible tool called a CRM. It stands for Customer Relationship Management System. So I'd love you to put in the chat if you're using a CRM. Just say yes CRM or no CRM. So the CRM has so many benefits. You can keep track of everybody you meet. You can categorize them if they're a client or a potential client or a potential partner. You can tag everybody. Our Jean Catherine's not using one. Okay. Most people are not, and that's why I talk about this topic, because it's really important. Yeah, I'll talk to Jenny about that in a minute, about the different one that I use. No, I think that means, oh, no, sort of. Is that no, sort of? Yeah, okay. Okay, so when you have a CRM, everybody you speak to, you enter into the system and you keep notes, so that when you're talking to them the next time, you can refer to your notes and be up to speed on what you guys talked about, which makes the person feel heard and seen. And they're really impressed that you remember what they had said. And then you set the reminder for the next step. So you can't keep all this stuff in your head. It's impossible. So when you have a CRM, you set a reminder to call somebody back in 2 days, and it pops up and reminds you. And each system is different in terms of, some will email you, some will text, send a text, some will just be a pop-up. But you can put scripts and templates in there. So, we all have like an email that we send out, or several emails that we send out over and over and over again, depending on who we're following up with, right? Like, and you spend time just creating this thing from scratch each time. Well, you create a template. Whenever you send out an email more than once, you create a template for it. And you go to that person's contact and you click on the drop down arrow for email and you pick the template, it pops up, you personalize it, and it's off in seconds. So it makes you more efficient and more organized, and you're going to, spend less time doing your follow-up because you're more effective, right? So the CRM is really, really critical. I have vetted, Jenny says, I take specific notes after each call. Oh, pen and paper, and read before each meeting. It's the reminder piece and doing electronic that I'd like to add. Yes, that's a waste of time, because then you have to, if you write it down, then you have to transfer it. So when I'm speaking to somebody, I have their contact open. I have my screen split if we're on Zoom, and I'm taking notes as we're talking. So it will save you a lot of time, Jenny, to have it electronically. And I have vetted, there's so many options out there, and everybody's at a different place in their business. Everyone's got a different budget. So I have vetted a handful of CRMs. There's a resources tab on my website. Carly's going to put the link in, and I would recommend clicking on it so it opens up your browser window, but go look at it later, okay? Or just copy and paste it and put it into a Word doc or Google Doc. But so it's not one size fits all. So I can't say everybody should use this one. Everybody's different. If you're just following up with people one at a time, all you need is a CRM. If you're following up with groups of people, like when you all registered for this interview, I sent an email out automatically. An email was generated welcoming you and giving you the info. And then there were 2 reminder emails. So that's the email marketing system part. And so if you're going to be doing programs or interviews or webinars and you want to send out emails to groups of people, you need the email marketing system. They're 2 separate systems, but it's ideal to get one system that has both in there. So those are the benefits of the CRM. And my clients who are consistently using CRMs are telling me they're staying in touch with people longer, they're building deeper relationships, and guess what? They're getting more clients and creating more partnerships, with power partners and JV partners. So it's critical. If you walk away with nothing else today from this conversation, is to get a CRM and to start using it consistently to keep track of everybody you're meeting. And then you can, if you're going to networking events online or in person, you can tag them with the name and the date of the meeting so you know where you met them.
That was one of the first things in our class that you said we all need to get one. And since it was hard for me to really dive into something huge, I started with something called Less Annoying CRM. And I've every time, and it connects with my email system, so it's really, really easy for me now. So thank you, Debbie, for.
You're welcome. And that link is in the resources tab too. I have an affiliate link for that.
Oh, great, great. Well, being organized, that was, I think that's one of the quick keys that you're talking about today.
Yes.
But one of the things also is that I want to make sure that Carly puts in is a link to this quiz that you've got. And I'd like you to talk about that.
Yeah, the assessment, and somehow Carly dropped off, so I'll put it in. So some of you took this assessment, and in less than 5 minutes, you'll see where you're doing really well with your sales and follow-up, and what areas, where you're sabotaging your success. It's a real game changer for people. It's an eye opener. So you're going to get clarity on what areas you need to focus on. PowerUpYourBizQuiz.com. I wonder if Carly lost power or something. So there it is. That should work.
Great. And
yeah.
It says Fab Resources. So it looks like she already checked out your resources.
Oh, great. You're welcome, Jay.
Yeah. I have to tell you, everyone who's ever listening in the replay, that what Debbie offers is abundant. There it's you're really there, and you're talking about serving us, and I feel like that's what everything you do does that. So this quiz, in terms of taking this quiz, I feel like that's a great start, but is there any way we could ask people like Vito and whoever else is on, maybe not video, if they have any specific questions right now that we could ask them?
Yeah, anything we've talked about so far, I'd love you all to put in the chat also your takeaways or insights so far. And just to finish up about this assessment tool, you'll be rating yourself on the various skill sets having to do with sales and follow-up. So it's like, it will take you on this like transformational journey, and you'll come out at the end going, wow, like everybody I've spoken to has said they learned so much about themselves and things that weren't even on their radar screen, right? So please don't take it now, take it later if you haven't already. And then if you want to connect to see how I can support you, we can have a conversation and go over your assessment results together. So any questions so far from anyone, anything we've talked about? See what happened with Carly. Oh, her computer's rebooting. Okay.
At least we're connected.
All right, if there's no questions, we'll keep going, but anybody have anything you want to share or ask about? Okay.
Well, one of the things I know for sure when I did the class with you, Debbie, was that I got to meet other people who were in the same kind of, well, that they cared about their business and they had a passion, right?
Right.
And with that, I felt like the meeting other people is part of being in this community of, business. And that was, so with you, what do you do about partners and referrals, and why is that, why is that important here in terms of sales and follow-up?
Well, referrals is, gosh, I'll just share some statistics about referrals because this is one piece that people just ignore. It's just not even on their radar screen. And actually, I'd like you to put in the chat if you consistently ask your clients for referrals. If you consistently ask like every single client for referrals. Most people are not, and I hear the reason why they're not is they're afraid, again, of being pushy. Like I've already had this person become a client and now I'm asking them to refer people to me. Like that's asking for too much. Or I don't want to come across desperate. If I ask for referrals, they'll think I'm desperate. 50%. All right, Jenny, not bad. Usually, okay, Vito, that's good. Usually is better than no. But having a referral strategy in place is a critical piece for building, creating consistent sales results. So research shows that when someone comes to you from a referral, the chances of them becoming a client go up by 300%.
Wow.
That's like huge, right? So you're all sitting on a gold mine. It's so much harder and takes so much more work to reach out to new people versus talking to people who have already worked with you and asking for referrals. But there's a whole strategy around it. So there's like 4 parts to this. And we go into this in my Power Up Your Sales program that's starting at the end of October. That's the program that Doreen was part of last year. So the first step is when to ask for referrals. So there are those opportune moments when you're talking to a client and they're happy and they're sharing the results that they've had working with you, what's changed in their life or business. That's when you want to ask. But it's like, how do you ask? You don't just say, who do you know who you can refer to me? Because that's like, I don't know who I know to refer to you. So you have to be very specific with the type of person you're looking for. So the more specific you are with what their demographic is, are they a woman, are they men, are they old, are they young, what's the problem they have, the more specific you are, the more people will go through what I call the Rolodex in their head. Remember those old-fashioned Rolodexes where we used to, remember those things? They were little pieces of paper and you write down everybody's contact info. So my analogy is we have a Rolodex in our head. All of us do. We have all these people we know. And the more specific somebody is, the more easily we can go through that Rolodex and go, oh, I know somebody, right? To be very, very specific. And you can also ask, or the way you can ask for a referral is if you can say, if you hear someone complaining about XYZ, that person would be a great referral for me. So that's a really, really great way to give people a frame of reference of what they should be listening for, okay? So that's the when to ask and the how to ask. Then the next part is we need to train our clients how to give us the referrals and our partners. And what I mean by that is, how many of you have had somebody say to you, oh, I refer people to, and I love the work that you do. I think you're amazing. I refer people to you all the time. And you've never heard from anybody. Anybody have that happen? Just put in the chat.
Actually, I have, Debbie. That's
Oh.
true. So I'm still learning from you.
All right, so here we go. Oh, Jenny says they give me wonderful written testimonials whenever I ask. Oh, that's great. We always want to have those written testimonials because we can use them in our marketing and on our website. Mm-hmm. So the way you want to train your clients and partners how to give you the referrals is to say, if when you know someone who's interested, could you please make an email introduction or ask them for permission for me to call them? That way you're in charge of the next step. If they just give your information out to somebody, you don't know who that person is, and you don't know who they've referred to you. So you'll never hear from them and you can't do anything about it. So you want to be in charge of the next step, and make sure that when somebody refers somebody to you, you reach out to them within 24 to 48 hours. Because if you are not, that person's going to stop referring people to you, because it makes them look bad if they've referred somebody to you and you're not following up with them. It tarnishes their reputation. So we have to be very diligent with reaching out to people who are referred to us. And then the last part of this is training people what to say when they're referring people to us. So I don't refer anyone unless they've given me language that they've sent to me, so that I can just copy and paste it, because I don't have time to write out and describe like what Doreen does, right? So if she wants me to refer someone to her, she'll send me her language, and then I just keep it in a Google Doc. And when I'm ready to refer somebody, I have it. It's quick, it's easy, it's efficient, and nobody can share better what you do than you, right? Because you know it intimately. So that's, having the referral language is really, really an important piece as well. So having a referral strategy in place is going to increase your business dramatically. And it's so much easier, like I said, to have somebody say, yeah, so why not have a referral strategy? And we go into this in the Power Up Your Sales program. It's a very important part of my system, and people are not doing it, like rarely doing it. So
Debbie, I feel like I'm still in a class right now with you learning.
well, these are new skills, new muscles to build up. So
yeah. Well, as I said, the other people in your class with me, it felt like we were giving each other referrals because we know, like, and trust each other, you might say. But
yes.
what you're talking about now is the people you already work with, your clients, and how to insert some kind of sense that, hey, if you're loving what I'm doing, can you refer, and how to do that in a way that doesn't feel like you're using them, I guess, is what I'm.
Yeah, no, that again, those are the limiting beliefs and stories we make
Yes.
up. Our clients love to refer people to us. If we've provided a great service or great product and they've gotten wonderful results, it makes them feel so good to refer you to someone else who they care about, who also gets great results working with you. So again, this is all mindset stuff. And I really invite all of you to just let go of any of the stories you might have about, referrals or sales or follow-up, and just put something more positive and life affirming in place.
Said
Oh,
unmute.
you unmute. Do you want to ask a question? Yes. Okay. So if you can unmute him.
It's a
Yay! It worked.
yes.
Debbie, Dr. Doreen is quite a spokeswoman for you. I'm here because she recommended you. And I do some other networking with Dr. Doreen, and I'm happy to be here. And I took your quiz. I'm the oldest person on the call, maybe one of the oldest that you work with. I've been in the sales world for 49 years, and most of it is in direct sales. And you had me thinking about one of my mentors used to say, when asking for a referral, he would say, Debbie, I promise I'll be as nice to them as I've been to you. And that is heart-centered. That really puts people at ease.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
they're concerned about, oh my God, I'm going to give this guy my friend and he's going to hound them, or everything I did not do to them, they're thinking I might do to their friend. And we don't
Right.
do that.
No, I love that. I always say to, and my clients, I teach them to say something like that, that I'm going to provide them with the type of service that I provided to you. I'm going to take really good care of them for you. So I love that. And I love that you shared that you're in direct sales, because I was in direct sales for many, many years. And I have lots of clients in direct sales and network marketing. And that is the most misunderstood industry out there, because there have been so many pushy, salesy, aggressive network marketers, and it's given the industry a really bad rap. And so I love working with people in network marketing, because I think the industry is an amazing industry. It's the most democratic way to make money. Like, I just think, you're helping people, and the more people you help, the more money you make. But it's very misunderstood, and people have been burned
Most sales is misunderstood.
yeah, but
I
especially direct
when I
sales.
said direct sales, I was at in-home sales for the World Book Company, World Book Encyclopedia,
Oh my
for
God.
for 28 years.
Wow,
And I started by accident, but I loved it.
that's
And
awesome.
I love the, helping families with the education of the kids.
Yeah.
And of
So
course,
you,
now when I mention that, people go, what? What was it?
yeah.
Encyclopedia? And, oh, like Wikipedia. No, not like Wikipedia.
Vito, excuse me for a sec. Do you have a question? Because we do need to keep going
Oh,
to make sure. Is there
no,
any
I just
question
wanted to
that
make
you
that
have?
comment. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to make sure we share all the information and to be done on time. So I'm so glad you brought that up. It's all about letting people know you're going to take really good care of the people they refer. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Well, speaking of time, Debbie, I really want to make sure that before we leave, you help us take a tool, perhaps something, because already today I'm getting, this is one of my takeaways actually, that when people say to me, hey, I refer to you, which I get a lot, I'm going to be able to say, well, can we talk about that? And can next time you do it, can you say this, or this, or something like that? Can I give you some language that might help you connect me to that person? Because I do hear that a lot, Debbie.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's already been done, so.
So then you can say, hey, thank you so much for referring that person to me. Would you be open to making an email introduction to that person, or asking them for permission for me to call them? So you can still go back even though they've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Well, so what can you today, is there anything else? I mean, you've given so much, my dear, but.
Well, I want to invite people to my masterclass that's coming up in a couple of weeks, because we're going to go into everything we talked about in a much deeper way. So on the 17th and 18th, I'm going to be doing a 90-minute masterclass, really going deep and having much more time for Q&A. And I'd love to invite all of you to join me. It's free. Carly is back, please, and she can put the link in the chat to join us. So we'll be talking about networking more detail. We'll be talking about systems. We'll be talking about referrals. And so you'll walk away with actionable steps that you can take, that you can implement right away to improve your sales and follow-up. So please join us. And then if you are really struggling with sales and follow-up, I'll be inviting everyone to join my Power Up Your Sales program that starts at the end of the month. And you'll hear more about that during the masterclass. So
let me just clarify that, Debbie, because today is a class, I would say. It's not just an interview. Hey, I'm pointing to you. But so the next step that people can take is this 90-minute. And is there a fee for that?
No, it's a free masterclass.
Wow.
And I'll stay on for as long as people have questions. So lots of times we're on for 2 hours, because I don't leave until everyone gets their questions answered. So I just block off a big chunk of time to just serve you, because I'm just really passionate about you guys mastering this. Because if you don't, you're not going to make the impact you're here to make. You're not going to create the abundance you want in your life. And that's what I'm all about. So Carly put in the link here to the masterclass. Actually, Carly, we need to use a different link. It's Doreen's link, so I'll put it in. Here we go. So use the second link. That's the one for registering for the masterclass. There are 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, the 17th and 18th. One's at 4 p.m. Pacific and one's at 12 Pacific, so that depending on what time zone you're in, hopefully one will work. We have time for some questions. We didn't really get into networking, but we'll be talking a lot about that during the master class. But questions, please, raise your virtual hand or just wave at us if you're on video, and any questions you have about anything we talked about today or anything about sales and follow-up, I'm here to support you. And then I'd love you to put in the chat your takeaways, your insights from today.
And that is one thing. that's one thing Debbie always asks is what are your takeaways, which I think helps anchor in,
Yeah,
right, what you're taking away.
it
And
does. Oh,
and
Jenny has a question. Can you unmute her? All right, Jenny, let's see. There we go. You're unmuted,
Thank
Jenny.
you. I'll just use my voiceover self. It's really a comment I wanted to say, thank you for the reframing around language, because I've said, a blessing has been that people have been very willing to give testimonials or recommendations. But over the last 2 years, I've had more than one person say, can you tell me what to say? Or could you write it and I'll tweak it?
Yeah.
And I felt a little funny about that, but then I thought, but I've done it. I've said, well, we can highlight this. And it is a service, because I'll say here, I'll write, it's for different services that I offer. So there's slightly different things that I'm trying to highlight, and then they personalize it and add something of their own, but sending.
Exactly.
And it seems like it's more and more common. So I think adding that to the email intro and having a template for that as well is a great takeaway. That in the CRM. So thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, thanks for bringing that up, Jenny. Yeah, you're going to make it so much easier for your
Yeah.
clients and partners to refer to you, and you're going to end up getting more referrals, because nobody has time to sit around crafting a description of what you do. Like, it's just, people are busy. So we want to spoon feed them and share with them exactly what we want them to say. And like you said, then you'll personalize it and add your personal experience. They'll add their personal experience working with you, what they admire and appreciate about you. They'll always add something in there. But I have the template that says, add here what you like about me. Like, it's all done for you, right? So people know where to add stuff. So thank you for sharing that. And Vito said the importance of the CRM. So please go over to my resources tab and check out the different CRMs and just choose one. Most of them have free trials. Every company is different in terms of the support. Some you can talk to them. Sometimes it's through email, sometimes it's through chat, but there are videos, tutorials. Just learn how to do it. Spend the time initially, and it will save you so much time in your business. It's just an upfront investment of time. But then after that, it's going to be so easy to use it, and it's a game changer. So thank you for sharing that, and Vito as well, the importance of the CRM. Any other questions or comments or anything I can support you with?
Well,
and again, go on. Yeah.
just one of the things that you said to me early on is, well, if you're not familiar with, maybe just get something that's easy, which was less annoying CRM, and it was only like $15 a month, as opposed to some of the more robust. But I feel like I've gained some kind of muscle in terms of understanding what the CRM is. And
yeah, awesome. Well, this has been fabulous. Thank you all for playing full out and participating. And I'd love to see you at the masterclass. And if you have friends and colleagues who are struggling with their sales and not generating consistent sales results, please invite them to join us.
Debbie, I can't help it. I know you've gotten, I just want one more, any kind of last words from you, because that's from your heart that I feel like opening it up, just saying goodbye to you before we do.
Thank you, Doreen. You're so sweet. So I just, like I said earlier, I'm just really passionate about helping you to make the impact you want to make in the world. Like, you all have a gift. You all have something special to share. People need what you have. They're waiting for a solution to their problem. And when you have these sales and follow-up skills and processes in place, you're going to be able to serve people at a higher level and make a bigger difference. So, please reach out, come to the masterclass. Let's continue the conversation. And if it's a good fit after the masterclass, we'll talk about, you guys joining the Power Up Your Sales program. It's a 7-week program, and I'm going to help give you the foundation to really get your business off the ground, or if if you've been in business for a while, to just improve your results, because we want to have consistent sales results and a process for doing that. And so it would be, an honor for me to be able to support you in this journey.
Mhm.
Thank you, Doreen.
Yeah, I like that phrase. And I think, just want to tell you, Debbie, it's been an honor to put a platform out here for you to share your expertise, your gifts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So nice meeting you, Jenny and Vito and the others who have dropped off. And if you're watching this on the replay, please sign up for the masterclass and reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, and the replay will be coming out later. So if you want to hear anything again, it will be available, and you can send it to folks as well. So thanks, Doreen, for inviting me. This was really fun.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.